Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome to the channel, or welcome back for that matter if you are tuning in once again. Thank you for joining us for a Tuesday night live stream, which isn't very common for myself. You guys normally see me on like Z Talks every Thursday, or sometimes like a cinema horror stories on like Saturday or Sunday. But anyway, we're here Tuesday night, and I've got two guests with me today. A guest who's been on the channel before, and a first-time guest. So we're going to hand over to my first-time guest, who is Ryan. So Ryan, how are you?
Doing good. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, of course, man. And I've been wanting to collab with you for a while. I know we've got something in the works in the background for the Michael J. Fox filmography. So people can look forward to seeing that. And yeah, as I say, I've been wanting to have you on for a while, but I know like with schedules for your time and then our time in the UK, it's a little bit different. So I'm awesome that this has been working out. And yeah, for anyone who doesn't know Ryan, his channel is RWR Movie Reviews, which a link is in the description box. So please go subscribe to him. Such an awesome guy, and he's growing subscribers at like a rapid pace at the moment, I've noticed. So that's truly awesome. So Ryan, I know your title is RWR Movie Reviews, but I know you do more than that. So do you want to tell everyone a little bit about your channel?
So I pretty much just started this channel just, for my love of movies. I've worked at a cinema and gone to movies for a long time. And I pretty much wanted to start this channel. I mean, I do bigger movies, but I also like sharing a lot of like the smaller movies that I have, because a lot of times, people don't know about those, and like they'll come to the channel and they'll be like, hey, I've never heard of that before, and might want to check that out. So I do a lot of that, and then, I'll do some unboxings. I've done that a few times. And then I also do, my Blu-ray 4K Steelbook haul. I'll go out and buy a few movies and just show what I picked up for the month, at the end of each month.
Sure. Yeah, and I've noticed that you start doing unboxings and you've started getting some like early screeners from Shudder recently.
Yep.
So
got a bunch of those.
Right. So yeah, definitely on the rise. And again, Ryan is an awesome YouTuber. I always love how you break down your thoughts, and I know you use like a green screen to have like the film background a lot of the time as well in your reviews.
I always use that.
Awesome. Well, dude, that's awesome. I haven't got space for one, to be honest with you, so otherwise I might have used one. But yeah, Ryan, welcome to the channel. And again, anyone who isn't subscribed to Ryan, please go subscribe to him, especially after this stream. And then my other guest, who I think is the reigning champion right now, is the person who's been on the channel the most in live streams. And that is my buddy Elliot from I.M.O Reviews. So Elliot, how are you, my man?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Yeah, dude, I'm doing awesome. And again, I just want to thank you both so much so far for being on to the live stream today. And Elliot, for anyone who is seeing you for the first ever time somehow on this stream, do you want to tell everyone a little bit about what your channel is all around?
Very similar to Ryan, I made my channel out of love of movies and needing to talk about it, basically. And that's what I do. I talk about movies, new, old, even sometimes TV shows. So we really do mix it up. I try and put out votes for people so that they can have a say as well as to what I review. So it's quite lighthearted. It's not to be taken to heart, and this opinion is definite, and that's a fact. It's just me talking about movies and having a bit of fun with it.
Right. Yeah, and I love your approach and like your personality that you bring to your reviews. And I've been noticing on Instagram that you recently just did a poll for people to choose which Toy Story movie for you to review.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I'm trying to schedule that in after this stream if I can. That's why I was quick on getting the results out today.
Yeah, I saw the result of that as well, but I don't want to give it away for anyone who like you haven't announced it or anything besides Instagram. So
yeah, it might be a surprise for some people.
Right. But yeah, I'm looking forward to your review. And again, anyone who isn't subscribed to Elliot, the link to Elliot and Ryan's channel is in the description box below. So what I just want to very quickly say before we start getting into some stories, and I'm going to read some comments in a second as well, is anyone who is tuned in live right now, we're going to be sharing some horror stories from our cinema experiences. So please share any and all stories that you've got. We'll read them out on the screen, we'll react to them, and we'll generate some more memories for us as well, So firstly, the first comment we've got today is Lego M News says, hey, hello there, or hey,
what's
Lego
up?
M News.
Hi, Lego M News.
Yeah, hope you're doing well, man, and thank you for tuning in once again. We've also got D Movie Man. So hey, my combined.
Hey D, how you doing?
D Movie Man's awesome.
Yeah, he's certainly awesome. I recently had him on a live stream for the last Cinema Horror Stories, and he's also collabed with Elliot as well very recently.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun doing that. We did the top 10 WTF movies.
Right, that was a blast. I really enjoyed that. So
yeah, it was good fun doing that with D. He's a good guy. Check out his channel as well.
Oh, absolutely. And again, another guy who's on the rise, with his channel and covering Bridgerton series at the moment. But even yourself, Elliot, you've just passed over 200 subscribers, which is awesome.
Yeah, very recently we're on 212, I think. We sort of shot up for a while, and we've sort of just sat at 212 for about 2 weeks now. So I'm trying, even if it just goes to 213, I'll be very happy.
Well, we've got people watching live or after the fact, so please go subscribe to Elliot. Let's get him to 215, and let's get Ryan to 1,500 because he's not too far from it either. And then we've also got a question from D. So he says, before we dive into the stories, he says, what's been a film so far this year that's received a lot of acclaim that you didn't enjoy, and then a movie that's gotten slammed that you enjoyed?
Well, so that's easy for me.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll start with Ryan. We'll start with the movie that's been slammed and that we enjoyed. So Ryan, take it away.
Definitely Jurassic World Dominion.
Right.
I mean, everybody's hating on that movie. I know Elliot didn't like it
either. Yeah. Elliot gave it a good old score, to be honest.
Yeah, I might have been in a bad mood that day. I might have just been caught off guard. I even myself, I'm like, that is harsh. But I gave it a 1 more out of the mood it put me in, if that makes sense. I felt kind of grumpy afterwards.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I think, to be honest, Ryan, I would say I'd probably agree with you because I appreciate like Elliot's review. Elliot, to be fair, man, you slammed it, and I love that review. Don't get me wrong. But I can get the criticisms because it has been like slammed, so it's like so bad. But I think the thing is, we've seen a lot of movies this year, respectively, on our respective channels, and I can probably bet right now we've all seen a movie this year that's been worse than that movie.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes, don't get me wrong, I think we're all guilty of like easily slamming a movie, but then we take like maybe a week or 2 or a month away and we're like, well, actually, this couple of movies I've just seen are more worse than that one.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think Jurassic World Dominion for me, Jurassic World Dominion for Ryan. Elliot, what about you with the movie that's been
So one that got slammed that I quite like, I don't know if many people saw it because it went straight to Amazon Prime, but there was a new Hotel Transylvania this year. And I didn't look at reviews. I just went in and watched it. And I actually had quite a lot of fun with it. And then I looked at the reviews and it was 30% on Rotten Tomatoes and half a star. And I was sitting there thinking, did we watch the same movie? Because I thought it was pretty good. So that would definitely be my controversial. I liked it, but nobody else did.
Right.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I reviewed it on my channel. Me and my son watched it. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I don't think it's as good as the other ones, but I didn't hate it or anything. I thought it was pretty decent,
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's a steady decline from the last few movies, but it's still pretty solid for how long the films have been going on for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those kind of movies, like I don't mind the series overall. I don't think it's going to be one that's going to be memorable in like 20 years' time or anything, like Toy Story is.
Yeah, it might be a bit of a cult classic, if you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah, I would probably agree with that. And then the other half of the question is the movie that's got a lot of acclaim, but we didn't enjoy. So, Elliot, do you want to go first?
That is quite tough because I've enjoyed all of the ones that have had a lot of acclaim. But I suppose it maybe Men, the new A24 movie. I still don't know if I actually like that movie or not. And it's been about 2 weeks since I've seen it. I'm still baffled by it. So I'd probably say that one because it is getting a lot of love, but there is also an audience who are a bit like me and scratching their head with it. So it'd probably be Men for me.
Men. Yeah, I think that's a good choice. Ryan?
So I kind of feel like I have two, but
Okay.
the one that I know that everybody enjoyed that I just didn't really like, and it's kind of weird because I like A24, and that's Everything Everywhere All at Once. I did not like that movie.
Wow. Yeah, I think I saw your review on that as well.
Yeah, I didn't really like that movie. A lot of people really loved it. I kind of feel like that movie really capitalized in doing well because Doctor Strange came out and everybody's really into the whole what is it, the universe, whatever that's called, the multiverse or whatever. I think a lot of people, I just wonder that if that movie wasn't released around that time, would it be as popular as it is? Because normally people don't really gravitate to A24 too much because they're kind of a smaller kind of studio. So yeah, I just always kind of pose that question: would it do as well as when it was released? So yeah, that one is definitely the one I pick.
Right.
That's a great choice, actually. It's a good way of thinking about it, actually. If Doctor Strange didn't come out, would this have really satisfied people's taste? I don't know if it would have done.
Yeah, I think it's a tough one.
No, sorry, you go.
No, I was just going to say, I think it's a tough one to call, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I liked it. I didn't love it, actually. I think I might have given it an 8 or a 9. I can't remember. And it goes a little bit too crazy for my taste. I described myself as Goldilocks. Multiverse of Madness was too cold. This one was too hot. I'm still waiting for a multiverse movie that's just right for me.
Right. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed it, but I can completely get from like Ryan's point of view that you didn't like it, and yourself, Elliot, where you can like in the middle with that one and like Doctor Strange, and you're waiting for that middle one to be like the perfect movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. I guess in terms of my answer, I don't have one. And it's not copping out because like while I've been looking away like this way, I'm actually on my laptop and looked at like movies released this year so far. I don't think there's been any, like, for example, like ones that's had a claim, like I can think of top of my head, like the Batman, loved it. Top Gun Maverick, loved it. Men, I think Men have like a bit mixed reviews, being honest. But like A24, I've got like a love-hate relationship with them. So I never think like, oh, it's got so big a claim, and I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna be like, I love this movie, because a lot of them I don't like. But yeah, anyway, I liked hearing your guys' answers. You guys had better answers. We've got Sophie's Retro Revival in saying, hey, Jen. So, hey, Sophie, how you doing?
Hi, Sophie.
She's going to be on Z Talks on Thursday. So, Sophie, I look forward to that. We've got D Movie Man saying, you guys are too kind. I appreciate being able to connect to you all. Definitely helps make this journey a lot easier. Yeah, for sure. And I think all of us have kind of benefited from meeting someone in like the YouTube group on Facebook created by Anthony Perez, or like collaborating with each other like we are now on like a live stream. So I definitely agree. So yeah, that's the last of the comments for now. But again, anyone who's watching live, leave any comments just for like, any horror stories you have. But we're going to start this off with my favorite question on these live streams. And we're going to start with Ryan, because he's worked at some movie theaters and stuff before. Ryan, what is the first ever movie you remember ever seeing at the cinema?
So the first movie that I remember was around about 8, 9 years old. I went to go see Titanic with my dad.
Wow.
Which is a really kind of a mature movie to watch at 9 years old.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I just remember seeing Kate Winslet, and I was like, oh, at 9 years old.
Dad's hand creeping in like this, I imagine.
Yeah, it's like, shut your eyes, son.
Right. Yeah, you probably didn't expect that at like 8, 9 years old, to be honest.
No.
That's awesome. So yeah, so it was a little while ago you went with your dad and it was Titanic.
Yes.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't think I ever got to see Titanic. I think what happened was when that came out originally, my dad was going to take me and my older brother to go see it, but I was underage, but my brother was like just the right age limit. So I think I ended up going home, and I don't know if my dad and brother went to go see it. I can't quite remember. But yeah, dude, that's an awesome experience. And Elliot, what about you? What's your first ever movie you ever remember seeing?
The one that sticks in mind is not a cool movie at all. I was very, very young. I'm talking maybe 3 or 4 years old. my poor mum dragged me out to go and see Barney the Purple Dinosaur. I can't remember the full title. I very vaguely remember it was about a big egg, a big dinosaur egg. That was something relevant to the plot. That's the first film I genuinely remember seeing at the cinema. Not a cool memory at all.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I did not expect that whatsoever.
Yeah, no. So I wish I could say Titanic, but sadly, no. It was Barney the Purple Dinosaur.
It's funny that you mentioned it. I was gonna say it's funny that you mentioned that too, because that was actually like the first birthday party that I can remember when I was 5. Barney's first party.
I mean, I remember enjoying it. I've remembered it to this day, so it must have done something right.
Right. Dude, you know what? I'm going to challenge you. So next time you do like a people's choice poll on your Instagram, just review Barney the Purple Dinosaur movie. I would love
God. I'll have to get some alcohol in for that one, I think.
Right. I think that would be awesome. But yeah, dude, that's an awesome one. I don't think I've ever had any guests on so far that said Barney the Dinosaur, to be fair. So being the first. And Ryan, I think also, I don't think I've had anyone saying Titanic either. So I like your guys' experiences, and that's really cool. We got Sophie saying she first saw Titanic when she was 8. So basically the same age as you, Ryan. She saw Titanic at the time. Definitely not a movie for 8-year-olds, I would say.
No.
Especially with Kate Winslet, will not say anything else. But yeah, so we're going to get straight into it. And again, anyone watching live, leave any comments and any stories that you have, and we'll certainly go through them. So Ryan, I'm going to start with you because you mentioned before the stream that you've worked in movie cinemas in the past and stuff, and I'm assuming you've seen some sights. So start us off, give us a horror story.
So there was one night where we were taking the trash out to the we call it the compactor, and we threw all the trash in there like regular, and we went to push the button, and literally we heard this sound, and we found out that a raccoon was stuck in the compactor and he was squished.
No.
Oh, it was horrible. The sound, I felt so bad because where this theater was, it backs up to the woods, so there's a lot of like critters and stuff that go in the woods, and just the raccoon crawled in there and we squished him. That was just a horrible experience.
Oh,
I feel so bad to it, honestly.
That was the last thing I was expecting you to say.
Right.
Yeah. I promise I'm not an animal killer.
Right. Right. I was expecting you to say like you found some like, I don't know, something completely different to a raccoon in there. That's all I'm gonna say. But dude, that's awful. So what happened when that happened? Like from after that point, was it the case of whenever you went to the compactor, you'd make sure what's in there first before
we pretty much had to like really make sure that before we did that we weren't hearing any sounds or anything like that. I mean, you can't really do anything if they're quiet in there and you don't hear them. The thing is, there was always animals back in those woods. There was like these like black pigs that like sometimes are back there. We've had coyotes back there. I mean, we've had a bunch of random animals always back there. So pretty much, if you don't hear anything in there, how would you know he was in there? So
right.
So it always had to, just kind of, I don't know, just kind of had to make sure that, you didn't hear anything, I guess. I mean, it didn't happen again, so that's the good thing.
Come on.
Lesson learned.
Right. Oh, I can't imagine what that experience would have been like. And like,
it's
just
horrible. I felt terrible.
But yeah, but at the same time, as you said, like if it's quiet, you're not gonna know different. You're just gonna think, just throw the trash in. And
yeah, it's one of those jobs that's so easily done, isn't it? You just chuck it in, press a button, walk away.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, it's just one of those things that you'd always think, like, you wouldn't think twice about it. You just think, I took the trash out, and then you go back into, the theater and go do whatever jobs you got to do, I guess,
Right.
But yeah, one cool comment we got here from D Movie Man about Elliot. He says, "Sounds like the beginning of what could be a new series for Elliot: Childhood Trauma Revisited."
That would be a very long series.
I mean, that could be. But he also says apparently that could be a series for Ryan as well.
Yeah, I think maybe we've got a collaboration there.
Right. I mean, that's awesome. Yeah, dude, that's a crazy experience. I'm excited to hear more stories, but I'm gonna fire it over to Elliot. Elliot, give us a story.
It's more of a disaster story, my one. And funnily enough, again, I'm not watching a cool film when this is happening. There must be a running theme here. I can't remember how old I was, but myself and my cousin went to go and see Happy Feet at the cinema. And halfway through the movie, I noticed like a cloud of smoke in the corner of the screen. And honestly, I didn't think anything of it. I thought, oh, is someone having a cigarette in here or something like that? It's a bit strange. But the smoke got thicker and thicker and thicker. And I was starting to think, when you tap your cousin going, have you noticed that weird thing happening over there? And eventually the screen just went black. The lights all shot on. And it turns out the cinema was on fire. And that's why it was smoking. Thankfully, it wasn't in our screening. It was another screening and the smoke poured through. But yeah, so we all had to evacuate, stand out in the freezing cold, get full refunds. And then when it was clear, we were allowed to go back in and continue watching Happy Feet. So I will never, ever forget my experience of watching Happy Feet at the cinema.
Wow. and did you ever find out what caused the fire?
No, we never did actually. And credit to the fire services, they dealt with it very quickly. I say we were out in the freezing cold. We were probably only out there for 15 minutes, but with all the trauma, it probably felt a lot longer than that. But yeah, we were able to go back in. We were able to get back to the movie, and we got to watch it for free. So traumatic, but actually not too bad.
Dude, that's awesome. I've never experienced anything like that in the cinema.
It's a bizarre one for sure. When I've told other people, they're amazed. They've never heard of a cinema catching fire. Certainly not when you're in there.
Nah, I mean it can certainly happen, especially like I know like a friend who used to work at the cinema and they used to make like fresh popcorn and stuff. So it can easily happen, especially with like cardboards around and etc. I'm sure Ryan could probably attest to that as well. But yeah. That's crazy. I've never seen Happy Feet, by the way. It's a movie I've never seen.
Oh, you'll think of that story when you do watch it.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say, man, I think you should definitely start a series on your channel for these trauma and then review the movie also.
Yeah, I think I've got a winning series there. Yeah.
Right. I would watch it. I'd be entertained by that. But dude, that's awesome. At least you got to see it for free. That's the big takeaway from it.
Yeah, we got a win at the end of the day.
Right. And no one was hurt or anything like that?
No, as far as I'm aware, it all was fine. We were all allowed to go straight back in there. So I think it was all good.
Awesome. Ryan, what about you, my man? Are you going to fire us off with another story?
So I remember going to see the Incredible Hulk movie. I think that was in 2008 or 7, around there somewhere. It's the one with Edward Norton. And I had one of those guys behind me just, making comments like in the peanut gallery going, oh man, oh shit, he's going to punch him. He's going to do this. I mean, he's just making comments the whole time. I mean, I don't even need to watch the movie. He just was making the commentary of the entire movie, And it was a packed screening, and just hearing him, just saying all these comments and stuff, I mean, I don't really get that a lot, but if you get a big movie like that, you sometimes will get people like that, especially like, with Spider-Way, No Way Home, people clapping and cheering and yelling and stuff like that. Those kinds of movies, I guess you kind of expect that. But yeah, he was just making all these comments the entire time. And I mean, I was just like, oh man, can you just watch the movie and not comment on every little thing?
Right. Yeah, I think it's, see, because I always hear from like yourself or like Perez or Rashad G Reviews, whoever, all you guys in the States, like whenever you guys see a movie, it seems like all the like audiences like interacting with the movie like all the time. Whereas like me and Elliot from the UK, like our screens are like dead silence.
Yeah, pretty much. And if somebody does speak, you get a death stare, basically.
Right. So
Yeah, I
you
mean,
do.
I feel like a lot of the screenings that I go to, I kind of know the times to pick when people aren't going to go, or if it's like like a smaller kind of movie. Like a lot of times, I won't have like a big audience. Like I went to go see like Men, and there was like 4 people. I went on opening night, and nobody was there. I mean, I think it just depends on the movie. I mean, I just did my last review to Top Gun Maverick, and I went on a Saturday night, and that theater was almost sold out. And like I hadn't gone to a movie like that in a long time, let alone a movie that's been out for 3 weeks. I mean, that's amazing. It's, for a movie to keep, having that much of an audience 3 weeks after. So, I mean, but everybody was good. So it was a good experience. Like, like I said in my review, but, yeah, I mean, like most of the time I don't feel like I have a big audience, lately, at least, I guess I don't have as much disruptions, but, I do have stories, of course.
Right. Well, we're gonna hear a lot of them, trust me. But yeah, like I can't imagine there's anything worse than someone shouting like what's happening on the screen as you're watching what's on the screen. Yeah, like Elliot, have you ever had anything like that?
Oh, quite a few actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Despite as much as I agree with you, Mike, that it's over here, it's dead silence, and if you do speak, you get a death stare. But
Yeah.
I actually agree with Ryan as well that it depends on the film. If for example, I went to see Top Gun with my mum, and that was a varied age range, but every single seat was taken, and you could have heard a penny drop. It was silent in there. But then I have gone and seen usually younger generation movies, sort of aimed for like 15 to 18-year-olds. And you can guarantee there's going to be at least one person in there who's just on their phone, talking, that sort of behavior. You can almost guarantee it. So yeah, it does happen more often than not. The biggest one I can remember was I actually had a school friend who had this awful habit of constantly going, oh, I love this bit here, before the scene would happen. But he would do it like 6-7 times through a movie. If you do it once or twice, I can forgive it. But every 10 minutes, I love this bit. Oh, and I love this bit. And you're just like, can I just watch it and just find out if I like it or not? So that's what came to my mind when you said that. Yeah, that took me back.
Wow. I don't think I've ever had I think I've never had anything like what you guys have explained. Sometimes I know when I go with my nephew, don't get me wrong, I love going to cinema by myself, and I think we all kind of do. I think we all mainly go to cinema by ourselves for majority of the time. But I think sometimes it's nice to have like someone with you for sure. Like as I said, you took your mum to go see Top Gun. Ryan, do you normally go to the movies with your wife or your son or anything like that?
It depends. My wife isn't much of an avid movie watcher as I am, but there are certain movies that I watch that will get her attention sometimes. I mean, she doesn't watch a lot of horror. It depends, but she'll definitely see all the Marvel movies. There'll be some movies I'll drag her out to if she just wants to go out, on a date or something. And my son, we'll try to see like the kid movies. I know this weekend he wants to see Jurassic World, and I already saw it, but we're gonna go see it again, which is fine. I'm cool seeing it again. And he wants to see it in 3D, so I'm gonna probably see that again. But it just depends. I know like my parents, they don't really go to the movies at all. So it's pretty much if I'm going to go with either by myself, my wife, or my son. That's really my only options.
Yeah, but dude, that's fair, and yeah, as I say, I think we mostly just go by ourselves a lot of the time, and we get like that chance to do reviews for our channel. Because sometimes if you're waiting for, as you said, Ryan, like your wife or Ellie, like if you waited for your mum to do a Top Gun review, you're like 1,000 behind like other people like doing that review.
Yeah.
So yeah, I forget where you guys are coming from. Yeah, I've got a story to actually share in a second, but we've got some comments. So we've got so about the stories about the trash as well that Ryan was saying, and Elliot. D Movement says, I once took the trash out late at night on the patio. When I opened it, I saw the reflective demonic eyes of a possum that drowned after rain poured in from the previous night and nearly passed out.
That would be quite a shock, to be fair, to just see those eyes.
Oh yeah.
Right. And he's saying it's basically a personal horror story, and Ryan brought that story to mind. So, Ryan, I guess you've done a good job. And Sophie says, oh, when I can show the comment, here we go. She says, her and Jason are going to go see Blackthorn next week.
Yeah, that's on my list to review as well.
That's one of my most anticipated for sure. I love Ethan Hawke.
Am I right in thinking it's the same people who did Sinister?
I believe so.
I like that movie quite a lot. I think it's a little underrated, so I'm quietly hopeful for this new one.
Yeah, I can't wait. It looks really good. And then I mean, you got Elvis that week too, which is gonna be a good week.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I think both movies are gonna do well, especially like Elvis does look pretty good, to be fair. But everyone loves a horror movie. So I think Blackthorn's going to do well. And Ethan Hawke, I like him as well. Ryan, I agree with you. And that movie's been advertised for so long now. I'm really excited to go see it.
Oh, yeah. I actually managed to see 2 adverts for it within the same advert break just last night. So they are very heavily pushing the marketing on it.
Right. Well, I think it's been delayed with COVID and stuff. So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, quite a few of them have. Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised. And yeah, Sophie, about connecting tenants before. Yeah, I'll get in touch with you on Instagram just to let you know. So yeah, I've actually got a story for you guys for myself. So it was actually I like to say maybe last year, if I'm not mistaken. And kind of like you guys and what you have said is when you go see a movie, you like to try to go see it like showing through the day before like the schools are out or while like adults or maybe at work, whatever the case should be. And I went to go see, but unfortunately this time when I went to go see this movie, it was half term. So I went to my local cinema, and for me, maybe it's a bit similar to you guys. Like if you've got like a cinema pass, you like to go see like any and every movie if you can. As long as it's obviously like appeals to you somewhat, of course. And I remember it was the week when the Suicide Squad was released, and I think the movie was the last letter from your lover or something like that title. I can't quite remember the full title of it. So anyway, I went to like a 2:10 show, and I thought, great. I was like, here we go. I've got to the cinema early. I've got I bought a drink and I bought some popcorn as well. I was like, right, I'm ready for this movie. Went into the screen, and I like to sometimes go in 10 minutes early before the trailers start and just, sit myself down, or I'll be on my phone, maybe prep a YouTube thumbnail. I'll do something YouTube related if I've sat down early. And anyway, as soon as I went in, dead silent before any trailers on. And sometimes Cineworld here in the UK, they'll just play like their like music, or I don't know, they'll play some kind of background music as such before they show the trailers. So here I was excited. I had my drink, had my popcorn in my hand. I was like just rolling in like this. I was excited. As soon as I turned the corner, there was 4 teenage girls, right? And I was like, this is not going to go good at all. Right? So this is the worst thing, though. As soon as I turned the corner, firstly, what happened was, I think, I don't know where they were sat in the cinema at this point, because they were just mucking around. I could hear their voices as I was coming in. Not kidding you. And there must have been about maybe 12 to 15 years old. I can't tell you what age, but around that age range. As soon as I walked in, one of the girls literally went onto her stomach, like across the floor. I was like, whee!
Oh my God.
Like on the carpet in the cinema as well. That girl did. And I thought, oh, fuck's sake. Here we go. I was like, and and I think we can all tell, right, when we're sat in the cinema before the movie starts, that someone is not going to shut up during that movie.
Oh, you know it right away.
Right. Yeah. Right. And I thought immediately, well, there's these 4 girls. This is 10 minutes before the movie even starts, and they're all laughing and giggling. One sliding across the floor on the carpet for whatever dumb reason. And I was like, they're just not going to shut up during this film. So I took myself out with my drink and my popcorn, went this way. I left the screening, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? I just bought a cinema popcorn. I'm like, I'm not going to take it home. I want to eat it. So I went to the cinema desk, and the awesome thing is about cinemas here, Ryan, with Cineworld, you can go see as many movies as you want each and every day. There's no cap. So anyway, I went to the counter and I was like, just give me a ticket for the Suicide Squad. I'll go watch it again. Then go see that movie. So I still to date have not seen that Last Letter from Your Lover, whatever it's called. But yeah. Again, as soon as she was sliding across the floor, I was like, I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm not able to go sit down.
you just know, don't you? When someone's doing that, you're like, there's no point me fighting this, is there?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially like the younger kids, because like, you know, the parents, they drop them off and they just, you know, they pick a movie and they're not there to watch it. They're just there to, you know, mess around.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, completely agree. And there's nothing worse. Like I remember going to see Countdown. I don't know if it was last year or 2020. I can't remember when that movie came out. Not a great movie by any stretch of the imagination, but I still went to see it, right? My girlfriend loves horror, so we like going to go see horror movies and stuff together. And I remember basically throughout this entire movie, the screening was pretty packed, and there was two girls, and they were like just talking and like giggling amongst each other for most of the movie. And then towards like maybe the last 20-30 minutes, I was like, "Can you just shut up?" And then they did. They were like didn't say a single word after that. But again, it just appeals to that teenage audience. They just don't shut up. And it's nothing worse. But we've got a comment from D, and he says, I'm still holding a slight grudge against the Black Phone after it got pushed from January. Still excited to see it. Yeah, I think with some movies, like especially like Top Gun Maverick got delayed so many times, and Mission Impossible coming out next year, I think was meant to be coming out this year, but got delayed.
Yeah, John Wick 4 as well, I think, was supposed to come out this month. And I think it's now coming out next year, I believe, if that's correct.
Yeah.
I was very excited to see that one. That one annoyed me.
And I think it's just for like marketing and stuff, you know, because like if John Wick, as you said, it was coming out this week or next week, it's going to be going against Lightyear. It's going to be against Top Gun still, Jurassic World Dominion. And it's just like next year. I in a sense, it's kind of clever marketing, because if they've got the date set in stone for next year, movies are going to be like, well, we're not going to release our movie at that same time.
Yeah, they're pitching up, they're setting up their tent early, aren't they?
Right.
Plus, you also have to be careful too, because if you have a Marvel movie, you pretty much have to steer clear of being near that date, because everybody's gonna go see that.
Right. Yeah, Marvel's probably the worst for that, because otherwise you've got no chance of succeeding, really.
And they seem to be releasing more and more now. There seems to be something like every other month, something new from Marvel. I didn't even realize Miss Marvel had come out. I only just saw today that the episodes were available. I was like, oh, when did that come out? This is news to me, but that's how much Marvel material's being pumped out at the moment.
Oh yeah, it's overkill.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I still haven't seen that, and I had no interest when they showed the trailer.
I've never read the comics, I must admit. So if I do check it out, I'm going in completely blind here.
Yeah, I watched the episode yesterday because there's only one episode out, and I personally didn't care for it. But I mean, I'll watch some more to see if I'll get into it. But to me, it just seemed kind of kiddish, kind of like really like Disney Channel type of show. I mean, I'm sure there are people that are loving it, but yeah, I couldn't get into the first episode, but we'll see.
Right. Yeah, and I say, Ryan, I think I agree with you. Like, that's what it looked like from the trailer alone for me. And I was just like, I'm not here for that. But yeah, I think we're all going to end up watching it so we know what's going on in the timeline, whatever they've got going on. So
Oh yeah.
So this next question we've got from Dean, and we're going to go back to the stories. So this is in relation with film or TV series. And he asks, what do you guys think about binge watching? Do you enjoy it? Is there still room for weekly releases? Could it be creating a general impatience towards the process of production and releasing films? So,
good question.
So very quickly, I'm going to give like a quick answer, just of one series to what comes straight up from my mind, and I would say Cobra Kai. I love the show. Like, it's one of my favorite TV shows. But I have noticed since it was on YouTube Red originally and then it got bought by Netflix, within like a year, Netflix released like 2 series.
Yeah.
And then in September, we've got the brand new season. So they have like hammered home the production. And I think it's one of those for like, say, like Netflix, like just TV shows, I guess, in general, is it's numbers.
Yeah.
Cobra Kai, they're pulling in big numbers, and Netflix recently have lost money, well, announced they lost money. They're going to be pushing that as quick as they can.
Yeah, they will be, definitely.
So, but yeah, what's your guys' opinion on this?
I like a bit of both, actually, if I'm being honest. I think it depends on what the show is. So, for example, The Boys, I'm really enjoying just watching that week to week. It's every episode's giving me enough to satisfy my needs, and I can walk away quite happily and then be excited to see it on the next time it comes out. But then there's other shows where when they constantly leave you on that cliffhanger, I really want to watch it and I just want to press next episode. Things like Squid Game, I nearly watched that in one sitting. I didn't realize it, but I stayed up till like 2 a.m. I only went to bed because I had work in them the next day and I didn't realize how late it was. So I like a bit of both, and I think it depends on what the actual show is about personally.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Ryan?
Yeah, it depends with me too. I mean, I think from a marketing standpoint, it's probably better to do weekly episodes, mainly because if you're trying to keep subscribers around and you got all these different shows and you do a weekly by week episode, it gets people talking about it, for Twitter or whatever the situation may be, and you're having more people talk about the show. So personally, for me, I like the weekly type of things, but I can get, like, if you're really into something that you would really want to binge watch. And I also binge watched Squid Game. That was one show I did watch.
Yeah.
So it just depends. I mean, it depends on, the time limit, what I have. I mean, I don't watch a lot of TV shows mainly because, like, a lot of times the episodes are like an hour a piece. And if there's like 12 episodes, it's a lot of time you got to spend on a show versus a movie. It's an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you're done with it.
Right.
Yeah, I thought you made a great point about if they drop it all in one sitting. A lot of these subscription shows will offer 30 days free. So there are a few people out there who'll sign up to 30 days free, binge watch the whole thing, and then not continue their subscription. So you're making a great point to make your show last and long out for a solid 2-month period.
Exactly.
You're almost guaranteeing your numbers are going to bump up.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think like a good example is such of like very quickly a show that's done it recently about weekly releases or like a batch release and then a little bit is Stranger Things.
Yeah.
So Stranger Things, for myself personally, just very quickly, I think it's been really good so far. The ending was a bit anticlimactic, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But I'm still excited for like July 1st, I think, when it's releasing, to see how it's going to end. So
no, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I was just going to say it gets people talking.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I think with Stranger Things, because they were delayed by COVID, I think it was a 2-year gap since the previous season. So I do kind of get why they dropped it all in one. I think maybe fans were originally quite impatient to already see it at that point. But I can see the way they told the story this season, that it could have worked doing it weekly, slowly building up to that finale to leave you on a cliffhanger.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And Dee, thank you for the question. And again, anyone watching live, please leave your horror stories because we're going to get back to it. And just very quickly, I want to read out Jamie Lee from In the Front Row saying, just jumped in. Glad I could catch you live. She's saying, Elliot, how many times is this? I think it's 3, I think we said. And yay, she typed out Ryan's in the stream and she says hello. So, hey, Jamie from Australia. Hope you're doing good. Thank you for tuning in. So, yeah, Ryan, I'm going to hand it straight back over to you. And I want to ask you, so, of course, you work in the cinema. Like, have you got any stories of when you worked in the cinema and maybe doing like a cleanup and found some unusual items or like anything like that?
Usually I would just find like hats, watches. People leave sunglasses a lot. I don't know. That's a popular item. Cell phone. I lost my cell phone. You know, we find a cell phone. Found money. Found money. Found $20. You know, nothing too crazy. I did have a buddy find like $500 one time. So you do find money. People leave their wallets. You know, just like the normal kind of items. I mean, I don't know if I really find anything really unusual. I mean, pretty much like basic items that you would have on you. So nothing really too crazy.
Right. Okay. And what, I mean, if you don't mind me asking, like, what did you guys do, like, lost and found? Like, if you found a hat and stuff, would someone, if someone ever claimed that, what would you do with that?
So what they would do is we'd take the item to the desk, and, you know, they would put it in, had like a little storage area for the stuff. And then what would happen is if they didn't come in, I think it was like 30 days or 60 days, they just donate it to Goodwill.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, you know, somebody's going to get it.
Right. But that's fair. But yeah, Ryan, have you got a horror story that you can share with us?
Let me think of one I got. I got one when I was working in the cinema. I had a buddy that was cleaning a theater, and he was like, Ryan, dude, you're not gonna believe what's going on in theater, whatever number it was. And I was like, what are you talking about, man? And so we went in there, and this couple was just getting it on right on top of the trash can. And we completely embarrassed them. The guy had his pants down. The girl was going all in right in the exit of, like, because the trash can is like right by the exit door, you know? They're just getting it on. I mean, I was just like, man, of all places to get it on right on top of the trash can. I'm just telling you, crazy.
And was this why the movie was playing as well? Or?
No, the movie was over, and we were going through like our rounds to like clean different theaters and stuff. And my buddy just went in the theater, and he's like, dude, look at this couple. I'm just like, oh my God. People are nuts in a theater.
I mean, what do you even say to that?
Exactly. What do you say to that? I mean, and you always found, like, you know, interesting people going to a theater. I mean, I've had people, I think I had one time where we had a movie end, and this woman was laying across all the seats, and we thought she was dead, but she was like, you know, laying out like dead asleep. And we had to like get my manager to like kick her to, you know, wake up. So yeah, I mean, there's just tons of stuff that you see. I mean, it's amazing. People pay for a ticket and they do some crazy stuff.
Wow. So how did that story end though when they were getting it on in the trash can?
So pretty much they were just embarrassed, and they pretty much just ran out and ended up just leaving, just embarrassed, I guess, that they were caught. But I mean, you were dead right out there on the trash can. Somebody's going to walk in eventually, guys.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking that, like, were they thinking that they're not going to get caught, or no one's going to come in for like a cleanup or what?
I don't know.
How quick is
Maybe
quick?
They were drunk. I don't know. They could have been. I don't know.
Dude, that made me laugh.
Trying to slip it in quickly.
It worked. We've got Josh saying, hey guys, hey Josh, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Again, anyone leave their horror stories, feel free. But Ryan, I love that story. That was awesome. Like, it's just like, what would you say to that? Like what Elliot's saying, like, how would you honestly react?
It's just shocked. What's also crazy too, about to go along with that story a little bit, is my theater actually, so I'm not sure how your theaters are set up, but we have like a, I don't know how you would put it, but like the opening part to where you go up to the theater, there's seats behind like the, I don't know how to put it, like where the
stairs.
Where the exit is. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like it's like seats that like block, like you couldn't even see like the screen. I don't know why you have seats like over there like that. But they actually had to take seats out of every theater because we were finding condoms everywhere in the back row. That's where people would just set it up and just do what they wanted to do. So they just had to start removing those seats and not having them in the corner anymore.
I mean, like, do people not realize that cinemas have CCTV and like night vision?
I don't know.
More the fact that you've got to sit there for 2 hours with mess on you.
Exactly.
Very, very true. Yeah. Well, we've got Nathan from the Unbiased Movie Nerds in. Yo, what's up, guys?
What's up, Nathan?
Hey, Nathan, how you doing? Again, anyone watching live, please feel free to share your horror stories. We're going to read them out. So yeah, Ryan, love the story. Elliot, it's your turn.
I have sort of one. I did very briefly work in a cinema. I don't really include it because it was more work experience. I was there for maybe about a month and a half, in all truth. But I did happen to work there when Rogue One came out, so I did get an early access screener to that. I had to turn up at maybe 7 o'clock in the morning or something ridiculous like that to go and see a movie. I was half asleep still. But there was obviously an admin error somewhere, because the screening had been listed publicly on the ticket buying website, and there was a queue of people outside waiting for a first screening just at their local cinema. They were as surprised as we were. They were like, I didn't know you were showing it this early. And we were sitting there going, neither did we, actually, to be honest with you. We thought it was for the staff only. So I don't know what the manager did. I just went in and pretended it's a normal day. The manager was like, don't panic. It's all right. We've got this, as you do. Keep a calm head, pretend we know what we're doing. I don't know what he said, but somehow he had the gift of the gab, and he managed to sort of talk everyone out of it and say, I'm ever so sorry. There's obviously been an error. There is no 7 a.m. showing. He was telling a big fat lie, because there was a 7 a.m. showing and we still went in and saw it. And on top of that, the projector cut out mid-film, and it cut out when there was a big explosion. So it actually seemed really normal. Big bang, black screen. And we were just like, well, that's fine. It was only when the black screen stayed for about 40 seconds, it was like, I think something's meant to be happening now. And anything more to the movie, that can't be the end of it. But it was just ironic that it cut right then, because it couldn't have been more perfectly timed. Huge explosion. It was as if you got hit by the explosion yourself. You just, out you go. So that was quite a strange viewing experience, I have to admit. Yeah.
Right. Dude, that's weird. I mean, the thing is as well, though, those people that showed up for the screening, especially thinking they're going to get to see Star Wars at 7 a.m. in the morning. Oof.
I felt really sorry for them, but at the same time, as soon as I sat down and I got to watch it, I was like, screw them. It's all right.
Yeah, but Ryan, did you get to see like a lot of early screeners at the cinema also?
Not as much. They didn't really do that as much at my first theater. I worked at another theater, which is the theater that I go to now. I worked there for 6 months. I got to see a few movies early. I remember got to see, I think F9 early, and a few other movies. I can't think off the top of my head, but not many. Just a few of the big ones.
Right. Get you. Yeah, well, that's fair. But yeah, Elliot, I like that story though. That's really cool.
I've got a thing with projectors and setting them on fire or something. It seems to only happen to me.
But it certainly seems that way. Every story you've had, basically fire or projector. Yeah,
pretty much.
You can pretty much create a blog at this point. When Elliot goes to the theater, their fires break out.
Too hot to handle.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow. Well, we've got a story from Nathan. So Nathan says here, I remember when I got a gun drawn on me by our school resource officer while at school movie night, plus SW at 7, Star Wars at 7. I couldn't do that. But dude, the first bit about drawing a weapon on you, what? Was that like a practice for like in America for like shootings and stuff? Or I don't know. Let us know.
Yeah, to us Brits, that's madness.
Right. Yeah, we've never had anything like that in our cinemas, I don't think. It's just always in America, it seems of it. I don't know, it's crazy. But yeah, Ryan, have you got any other stories you want to share?
So I worked at this other theater, and this is the theater that I go to frequently now. But I always worked on the weekends there, and we always had all these teenagers that would come on Friday and Saturday night, and they would always pick whatever PG-13 movie it was and try to sneak into the R movies and all that stuff. But it got to the point where they would buy all these tickets, and they would go in the theater and they would just disturb and tick off all the different people. And we had to, kick them out and stuff. But then we had to call the police on them because they were, throwing all these temper tantrums. They were throwing popcorn, throwing stuff at us. We had to call the cops and everything. And it's just bad. It literally got to the point when I would work there on the weekends that we had to reserve a certain movie just for them. And then if they didn't have like a parent to come, I'm serious. If they didn't have a parent to come with them to see a certain movie, they couldn't see it. So like, let's say like Godzilla was out and we would pick like a kid movie for them or something. And that's the only showing they could go into unless they had a parent with them. It was literally that bad that we had to do it. It's terrible. Because it would be every weekend.
I can just imagine, like, if they ever went onto the cinema like booking app as well, just be like, sorry, this movie's not available. Sorry, this one's not available.
But no, what they would do is like their parents would give them cash and they would just pay cash for a movie. Or like you knew that they weren't there to see the movie because what I would do is if they would come to the movie and it's been like 25 minutes and the movie's in, I'm like, sorry, we're not selling any more tickets, because you know what they're doing at that point. They're just going in to raise havoc and annoy customers and patrons and stuff. So I just wouldn't sell them tickets. So, and they would go to McDonald's and they're like, well, I want to see the movie. It's like, well, if you really wanted to see it, why are you showing up 40 minutes, into the movie? So yeah, we would have that. I mean, that was like an every weekend thing. It was really annoying to deal with. Not gonna lie.
Right. Yeah, I can see why you left.
I mean, it was just a second job anyway, but I was glad to not have to deal with that anymore.
Yeah.
So have you ever seen them since, like leaving and going back to the cinema?
So the times that I go to the movies, they're usually not there. I know not to go to like a Friday night 7:00 showing because I know they're going to be there. A lot of the newer movies, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you guys have early screenings too, like on Thursday. Do you guys have like Thursday night, like 7:00 showings? You guys don't have that?
Is that random for me personally?
Wow, because like here, all the new movies that come out on Friday, they'll do like a Thursday night showing, and depending on the movie, if it's a bigger movie, they'll have more showings. Like Lightyear, they're doing showings starting at 3:00. So it just depends on the movie. But if it's a smaller movie, they'll at least do a couple showings at like 7:00. So I'll go on those Thursday nights when it first opens, especially if I know it's going to be a movie where like teenagers are going to be at, and I'll just avoid that altogether.
Yeah.
You get to the patterns and when people are going to go.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that as well. I'm hoping to go and see Lightyear as early in the morning as possible because I don't think many kids are going to be up at that time.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, I'm hoping the same as well. But yeah, Ryan, to answer your question, no, we don't get like early Thursday showings. Like I know you guys do. I don't know why, being honest with you, but just don't do them. I think the last time we had one, well, for myself personally, experience, I'm not sure about Elliot, was for the Batman. And we got the showing of the Batman, I think on the Thursday, at the same time you guys had your first showing officially. On the Thursday early, because I paid like £20 to go see the IMAX showing and see like early. Best decision I've ever done, by the way, but yeah, that's the only time. I know, man, it's weird. Well, Nathan says he agrees with you that some people have no common sense.
Yeah, and you can't teach common sense.
No.
Jamie Lee says for Elliot, she says, so with Star Wars Rogue One, so did they finish the movie? Did they fix the projector? Well, what happened?
They did fix the projector, but there was maybe a 20-minute wait. Obviously, it took us a minute to realize it had even happened. And thankfully, the manager, who had already had quite a stressful morning, now had to get up and deal with that as well. So he probably doesn't like that movie, and I wouldn't blame him because he had a pretty rough ride with it, to be fair to him. But yeah, so it cut out. We eventually figured out it had cut out, and then he went and fixed it. It took about 20 minutes. We managed to find where we were. I think we maybe rewound it 5 minutes, in fact, to let it run through. But after that, it was plain sailing. Eventually, it was plain sailing.
Awesome. That's cool. At least you got to finish the movie, at least.
Yeah, we got there in the end.
We've got a question from D Movie Man, which isn't like the cinema horror story later, but we've got a question, so we're going to read it here. He says, looking at your journey in old videos, are there any significant improvements you've seen in your approach to film criticism and or creating reviews for YouTube? If so, what are they?
Oh, definitely. You want to go first, Elliot, on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I can sort of generalize it and say I feel like I've improved in pretty much all areas. I look at some of my earliest videos and I want to curl up in a ball and die, to be honest. They're so embarrassing. They're not good. I understand why some of them have got about 20 views. I'm fine with them being at 20 views. The less people see them, the better, really. But watch the more newer ones where I feel much more confident. But even then, I still feel like I'm learning. Just earlier today, I was looking at things like banners for your YouTube channel, making a better one than that, because mine is a little bit basic. I do need to get a better microphone than the one I've got. I sometimes listen to my videos and I think it's a little bit blaring at times. That could be better. So it's all trial by error. The more times I make mistakes, the more I actually realize, oh, that can be better. That can be better. And that's something to build towards. So I suppose it is just that. It's come with experience.
I agree.
Right. I agree also, yeah. And it's crazy. Sometimes even if you go back to like your last review and you just do a review, like even the difference with those two reviews can be crazy sometimes.
Yeah, massive. Yeah.
All right. And Ryan, what about you?
I mean, I definitely like some of my old videos are so bad that I deleted them off. I'm like, I'm sorry. They're so bad. Like even if I got the views, I'm sorry. Like if they're really that bad, I mean, I still have some of my old ones on there and you can definitely see where I've, made improvements. Like I think really when I, got the green screen and, got the ring light and everything, it definitely enhanced my videos to look a little bit more professional, which is what I was trying to do. And then some of my reviews, I try to plan out like, my positives, my negatives. Some of them I plan out, some of them I don't. I don't think you really script yours, Mike. I remember you telling me you just kind of wing it. I mean, yeah. I sometimes can be like that, but other times I'm like, well, I may need to, think about what I want to say about this movie rather than just saying it just sucks or rather if it's just good. So, I mean, for me, I try to do my reviews in the sense of somebody that's never watched it before and trying to get them interested in watching it if they haven't heard it and trying to not provide spoilers. I know everybody's different how they, do theirs, but I feel like now, like I have a little bit more, preparedness, a little bit more professionalism to my videos than my earlier ones. I mean, we're all kind of learning and trying to figure out like what we want to do with our channel and what works for our reviews and what doesn't.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I agree with both you guys. Yeah. So Ryan, just very quickly, you say about the scripted stuff. Yeah, I've never scripted a review. I just like to personally like kind of go into my reviews just like, I guess in a sense like sometimes like an average Joe going to the cinema and just being like, right, this is the plot, this is what's good, this is what's bad, my score kind of done, But yeah, it's just one of these. Sometimes like I'll take notes, but you guys won't see that. Because I might put like a clip of the trailer over it while I'm like talking about that said note I've just looked down on kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But it's just like with editing, really, I guess one big improvement that I've seen personally, which I think is quite funny if I go back to some of my older videos, is you guys know when I do my reviews, I'll be like this side and you'll see like the poster like here.
Mm-hmm.
And some of my older reviews, you'll have it where I'm sat here and then the poster's still here. So like half my face is like cut off like that. So I'm like going into the poster. But it's just, it's just like daft stuff like that I've learned over the years, being like, well, I've set myself purposely to the side now so you can still see the film poster being shown here or whatever I'm talking about or like a different whatever. So yeah, I think it's just so much stuff, to be honest. Like I think that's a separate stream for itself about the improvements we've all made. But yeah, thank you for the question, OD. And yeah, don't worry about going off topic or weekly live stream, anything like that. Don't worry about it. It was a good question. Nathan says, my older videos are a bit cringe compared to my new ones. Everyone grows with time. If they're truly dedicated, nothing to feel ashamed of. Yeah. I think it's just embarrassing though, right? Sometimes go back to our videos.
Yeah, you just worry that if you ever did take off, that one of those terrible ones are going to get like 1,000 views, and you're just like, I'd rather it didn't. But like, I'm still not ashamed of it. I'm glad it's there. It's, in a way, you can look back on it and go, wow, what a massive improvement I've made from there. So yeah, it's all right, really.
Right. Yeah, I agree. One thing I find really funny sometimes is like, see if I watch one of my old videos, and you guys might do this as well, and you just think like, why did anyone subscribe to me then?
Yeah.
Like when I was on like I remember that doing that video, I'm like 100 subs, and I'm like, why would anyone subscribe to that? I appreciate anyone who's watching that did, by the way, thank you. But I yeah, I definitely agree. And then also Josh says, I started watching RRR today, which I just watched on Netflix and reviewed today. As your video convinced me to watch it, and it's the definition of epic. Yeah, have you guys seen it yet?
I only know about it from your Instagram post, so I'm going in completely blind, but I am quite intrigued because you had very kind words for it.
Right.
I've heard of it. Is it on Netflix? Is that where that's on?
Yeah.
Okay. I actually don't have Netflix anymore.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Ahead of the times.
I was sharing with my dad, and I honestly don't watch a lot of stuff on there because I just have so many other streaming services. So I don't know. For me, I just don't really watch much on there. I mean, I feel like Netflix for me, because I don't watch a lot of TV shows, it's kind of geared towards a lot of people that watch a lot of TV shows. I mean, they throw their movies on there, but I just feel like that is kind of a better streaming service for people that really love TV shows. So yeah. I just elect not to pay for it.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Like a lot of the time, it is just TV stuff on it. And, like, I don't want to watch that series.
I mostly use it to binge watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia, to be honest with you.
My girlfriend loves that series, so
it's a great show.
She'll probably nod and agree when she watches this.
Yeah.
But yeah, just very quick, I want to add to this RRR. Yeah, so what we were talking about before about making improvements to our channels and from where we started up to now. I mean, I always try going to a review, like just to try and give like a general idea of the movie, no spoilers, just, you know, positives, negatives, what I liked about it and didn't like. But I never try to do it where I'm like, this is my opinion, this is what matters the most. It's just like, try to keep it open. I think we all try to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I maybe throw a bit of chaos in there, but it's just fun chaos.
I throw my chaos in for like the Asylum movies.
Oh yeah.
When I watched like Top Gunner the other day, that was funny. That's when I like my chaos. But yeah, we also Jimmy says for Ryan, they can't be that bad to be deleting your videos, but it's a shame that you did. She did that. We got Josh saying he's just noticed hitting 50 subs. So congrats, Josh. That's awesome.
Well done, Josh.
You'll be at 100 in no time. And he says, I love Netflix for movies like Uncut Gem, Marriage Story, and Roma. Yeah, they certainly have some good ones for sure. It just depends if they show good movies on it, you know, it just really depends. And Anthony Perez says, I'm working, having volume down, but stop by, give some love. So, hey, man. Hey, Perez.
Hey, Perez.
Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you too, man. And D Movie Man says, episode 1, Phantom Menace, Mad Max Fury Road, and Girl on the Train are some of mine. So that's pretty awesome because he's asked a question here, saying, what's a movie trailer that always exhilarates you and brings back an initial excitement when you watch it? And he says, episode Phantom Menace, Mad Max, and Girl on the Train. You guys got any kind of film trailers you watch and you kind of gets you hyped up?
Oh, the one that comes to recent memory, I did get a little bit overexcited about Deadpool 1 when that was first being advertised because, of course, Ryan Reynolds leaked that footage and it was, my dreams were answered because what they had originally done with Deadpool in Wolverine Origins was just, no. So my prayers were answered when I saw that footage, and it was just a matter of waiting. I was checking my phone every day. Is the trailer released? Is the trailer released? So when it did finally release and it actually satisfied my needs, yeah, that one definitely did the job for me.
I think that's a cinema horror story in itself when he was in.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
That was terrible. I'm so glad that they mocked that at the end of Deadpool. That was
Yes,
so
they do. Yeah, yeah, it's a good joke on that. But I'm just generally glad that they've fixed it, because it's, especially with like a big company like Fox, they're quite, they'll be quite stern and say we're doing it our way. So for them to actually accept defeat and say that was awful, do it again and do it properly, I'm really grateful, because I was a big fan of Deadpool in the comics. So as you can imagine, my reaction to Origins was not a good one.
Yeah, for sure. I don't blame you. And I think in terms of like film trailers, I think Deadpool's a good one. I think for me, like the most recent one I remember seeing, and I just love the trailer, despite how many times I've seen it, was for the Batman. And I think it's just because as the trailer goes on, it gives you a bit of a tease about what you're going to expect. But then that Michael Giacchino score, as it amps up as he's walking towards the car, I was like, yes. I was like, I've seen this 1,000 times, but yes, come on.
the bit where the bit where the bullets are flashing and he's in the alleyway and he's sort of almost moving robotic from the flashing. That scene was, I think I immediately rewound it and was like, whoa, I need to see that again. That was incredible. So yeah, great choice.
Yeah, such a good trailer, especially like even when he's beating down on the thugs as well, and he's like, "I'm vengeance." I was like, "That's awesome."
Yeah.
So Ryan, what about you?
I would say if we're talking recent ones, I really was excited for the teaser trailer for Avatar. I mean, I really think that the original Avatar like really shaped cinema. Like regardless of how you feel about the movie, like I really feel like it really changed technology in movies in general. So I would definitely say like Avatar, the new one, and then like maybe like older trailers. I would say probably like the Joker, definitely Dark Knight, like just movies like that. I mean, I'll fully admit on the stream that I'm probably more of a DC fan than I am a Marvel. I mean, I watch both.
Yes.
But I think that's mainly because when I grew up, I was really much introduced to Batman, and then I know Spider-Man's more so Marvel, but I think like those are the two that I knew the most, because I never really got into like comics a lot growing up. But like I think Batman and Spider-Man are like probably like the most that, superhero wise that I definitely, grew up with, especially like I used to watch like the Batman cartoon and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I feel like Batman is like the one I'm most familiar with, and like was always like excited to see those trailers every time they make a new one.
Right. Yeah. I agree with you, and I'm so glad you said that you prefer DC, because I do as well, which is a very unpopular opinion. Elliot, do you?
I do as well. I must admit, when I was reading the comics, I was a Marvel fan, and it was only when I got older I went over towards DC and went, oh, this is a lot darker and deeper, and actually what I'm after now. But actually, yeah, characters in the DC universe for me have always hit home much more for me. They're much more deeper, much more interesting. People like the Joker, you can spend hours researching him and being fascinated in the whirlpool that is the Joker. So yeah, I do have to admit I do prefer DC over Marvel.
And speaking of the Joker, I don't know if you guys heard yesterday, but there's some rumor that Joker 2 is going to be a musical.
Yes, I don't know how I feel about that.
Like, what the heck?
That's bizarre as all hell. Are they going to use ready-made music, or are they going to sort of use original music? That's the next question that comes to mind.
I have no idea, but the original Joker is one of the most iconic movies, I think. I have the poster here in my room, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean,
and I think Harley Quinn is going to be played by Lady Gaga, which I kind of like the sound of it, but I don't know if it's going to work in execution.
Got them both.
Oh, brilliant.
Nice.
I agree with you. I agree with you guys. Like, I think what you were saying about Lady Gaga, I think that she could do a good Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Because she's proven herself in like House of Gucci, Star is Born, and basically any acting role she's given, she always gives a good performance.
Yeah.
So I
worry if I just, when it's a celebrity, I always struggle to see them become a character. I always say you're Lady Gaga or you're Harry Styles or so on and so forth. That's the bit that I'm worrying about. I think she'd look great as the part, and I think she can do that Brooklyn, New York accent quite convincingly. But I'm really worried I'm just going to look at her and say it's Lady Gaga dressed up as Harley Quinn rather than buying her as Harley Quinn, if that makes sense. But I'm happy by the news. I imagine when they release the images of it, that would be the time to really judge it.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Yeah, and I think last thing before we go into like a bit more stories and we'll wrap things up because we've got like way off track and it's more like a Z talk. But thank you everyone who's tuning in right now and watching. But yeah, this is an interesting question and what you've brought up about the Joker, Ryan, about the sequel. As you know, I think we kind of agree about Lady Gaga and she could pull that off for sure. I think the musical aspect, and Anthony Perez mentioned this earlier, so I'm going to mention what he said. He said that he thinks it could be good in terms of a musical if it's like an introduction to Lady Gaga's skills as Harley Quinn, that she can sing. And maybe she has like a musical number where Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is there watching her. Like that could work.
Yeah.
But like, for example, in this movie right here, the best part where music is involved is when he's on the stairs.
Yep.
And also the bit where he's in the bathroom, kind of like having a moment of like craziness.
Yeah.
That music works in terms of like a musical. Not him singing, but like him reacting to the music as the music's playing.
Yeah.
So I think if they went that route, it'd be great. But you'd have like a movie like this that is ultra serious, and then you'd have a movie that's a musical. It wouldn't go together.
Imagine if it turns out to be like La La Land or something like that.
Oh boy.
It's almost as if, right, they're saying like they're going to make this, they've made this movie, the next one's going to be a musical, and then the third one's going to be a Western. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting with these different kind of genres they want to try and do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. We just have to wait and see in that one. But we've got a couple of comments. Let's have a look. Yeah, Nathan says he remembers about the trailer about Avengers Infinity War. And absolutely electric, and he loves that trailer. Yeah, I think that was a great trailer.
Yeah, totally agree.
And Josh says DC is so much better right now because they understand how to write characters and set the scene and tone. Not to mention directors are given more freedom than Marvel. Yeah, I think I would agree with that. And Julie says, yeah, but DC is better. Haven't seen a Doctor Strange musical yet. I love Harley, but I'm going to hate this because I don't like Gaga. That's fair. But I mean, she does. She has gone very bizarre in a like beginning of her career, career-wise, in terms of like outfits and stuff. So I think she can pull it off. But yeah, anyway, we're gonna get back to the horror story. So, Elliot, do you want to go next?
I don't know if I've really got one now, actually. There's certainly no more fires to list, that's for sure. To be honest, no. Beyond that, I would imagine it's mostly people talking, things like that. I have had arguments happen while in a cinema, believe it or not. You'd think you'd leave that outside, but yeah, no. They've clearly a couple turned up that were in the middle of a row, and they decided to put it on ice during the movie. And I'm guessing they must have been right on their edge because it was quiet. As far as I'm aware, nothing happened. But one of them must have done something to annoy the other one, and the other one just broke. And we got the full show. The film basically stopped because these two were just shouting at each other in the middle of a screening until security came and led them out. But yeah, beyond that, no, nothing that traumatic beyond the two fires that I've been a part of. Yeah, it's been okay.
So what happened with the argument? Or did they like pause the movie or rewind it because of that? Or
no, unfortunately, well, to be fair, because the argument only really lasted about maybe a minute and a half, they just apologized and sort of said, back to the show, pretend it didn't happen, la-di-da. So yeah, but yeah, it's just one of those things where you left scratching your head as if to say, like, maybe they should have just stayed at home and maybe not gone to the cinema if that's the sort of mood you're going to be in, and bring it on everybody else. But yeah, thankfully that's about as bad as it's got. It's never involved me. I've never had to get involved in a fight or found myself arguing. I found myself in a shushing war once, completely accidental. Someone talking behind me, and I've sort of run out of patience, and I've gone shh. To which then they've shushed, and now we're just going back and forth shushing each other. And it's like, what are we actually achieving by doing this? Someone's going to have to fold. So yeah, it's always eventful at my local cinema, as you can tell.
Right. Wow, I've never heard of a shushing war before.
Yeah, you get dragged into them accidentally. Yeah.
Right. Dude, that's awesome.
It's funny that he mentioned that too, because I remember one time I was in the theater and I was with a friend and we were just kind of whispering, and this guy goes, "Be quiet, man, the trailers are about to start." I'm like, what?
What?
That excited about the trailers.
The irony, yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's like the point where everyone like talks and like goes on their phone or whatever.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. That's funny. Ryan, do you want to share one last story?
Let me see if I can think of a good one. Well, I can tell you one of my, worst experiences as far as like this. I went to go see this smaller movie. It was this year. It was called The Tiger Rising. I have a review on it for my channel, but I pretty much just went there and I was pretty much one of the only ones in the theater, and the projector was acting up. So like every 10 minutes in the film, the movie just kept like shutting off and shutting on. And like there's a bunch of like blinking lights and stuff. So like I think like the light bulb in the projector was going out. And like I told them, in the theater, hey, it's going out. They're like, oh, we don't have a manager, so we can't fix it. So the entire time I'm like, I probably should have just got my money back, but the entire like hour and a half, like every 10 minutes, the movie would just like shut off, shut back on, and just like blink lights like the entire time. I mean, it was horrible watching the movie like that. I mean, but it wasn't that great of a movie anyway, but still.
Wow.
I'd start trying to figure out when it's going to happen. I'd start sort of like doing Jedi tricks as if I caused it with my hand or something like that.
Yeah, it's just, man, I don't know. Those light bulbs too, for like the projectors, they cost thousands of dollars too. Like people don't understand, like, because they're lighting that, that projector, all day long and 365, 7 days a week. I mean, they cost thousands.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't have had a clue, to be honest. I wouldn't have.
Yeah, I'd have thought the whole kit, like each bit of the kit, would be a couple of thousand. I'd have thought.
Yeah, it's just the light bulbs, and then like when you order them too, like, because I know in like my other theater we used to have. I don't know if they do this where you guys are at, but if nobody buys a ticket, they used to just shut the movie off after 10 minutes into the movie. But they stopped doing that when they transitioned to a new system. So if nobody showed up to the movie, let's say it was like a late night showing or whatever, the movie would just keep on going and playing with nobody in the theater. You'd have to manually shut it off. So, yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I just think that if nobody shows up for a movie, you should probably just have something to shut it off, because just so much money with those light bulbs. It's a waste of electricity.
Right.
In my experience, when I did stay at that cinema, the only time I was aware of them doing that is if there was a more popular film on, and that it was maybe only showing in 1 or 2 screenings and they were pretty packed out. They would maybe swap the film out. If it's like maybe 20 minutes before it's going to start showing and no one's booked a ticket, no one looks like they're going to book a ticket, they might change it out and make another screen available for the more popular movie. But generally speaking, I think they just left it running, and it would be an empty theater if nobody turned up. Nobody turned up.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I think if from a couple of years back, from my friend who used to work at the cinema, I think she said that they used to just let it just play out in case anyone did eventually show up. I mean, I don't know why someone would go in like 50 minutes later, but
We'll do last 10 minutes.
Well, to be fair, if they're teenagers from America who Ryan knows, that they would be going in.
They'll show up. McDonald's, they're in there.
Definitely. We got an even saying at my screening for X last March, some woman brought in 3 kids who would not shut up. And she started complaining about the graphic nature of the movie. She looked like your typical Karen. That's great. Nate, that's made me smile. But yeah, so we're going to just wrap this up. Firstly, I just want to take a moment to thank Ryan and Elliot for being here. It's truly been a blast. We did go slightly off topic, but I still enjoyed it. So Ryan, we're going to start with you. Do you want to just tell everyone a little bit about what content you've got coming up on your channel?
Yeah, so I will be seeing Lightyear this week. I have some other Shutter screenings at the end of this month. I will be reviewing Black Phone and Elvis, and then I'll have my monthly, haul at the end of the month. That's what I got coming up.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. Looking forward to them all. Now, I like your haul videos as well because it's something slightly different for the channel. And dude, you've got to one day do a video of just your full collection. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, that would take hours.
I still want to see it though. But yeah, for anyone interested there, Ryan's link is down below in the description box. And Elliot, what have you got coming up for your channel?
Well, literally as this stream ends, I'm going to watch the original Toy Story as the public voted for it to be reviewed. So that should hopefully, if all goes to plan, should be available tomorrow afternoon, evening. And then it's on to Lightyear, and then it's on to the Black Phone. They're the next 3 on my schedule. And then somewhere after that, I'm going to maybe take a day or 2 off because the last week of YouTube has been pretty wild for me. It almost feels like I've done a video a day for the last week. So I might take a little 2-day window if I can after this coming weekend.
Right. Yeah, I don't blame you. I think we all feel at times where we feel like there's just nonstop like YouTube every day.
Yeah.
Like,
if you're not doing a video, you're editing a video or you're planning a video.
Right.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, like that RRR that I reviewed today. I didn't expect to watch that and review that today, but I dropped it, and then I'm like, well, when have I got a day free?
Yeah.
But yeah, so both guys have got awesome content coming up on the channel already, but also coming up in the next couple of weeks. So please go subscribe to both of them. As for myself, anyone who's interested, I've got Z Talks on Thursday with Jamie Lee and Sophie. This weekend I'll be Lightyear as well with these guys. We'll probably all be dropping reviews for Lightyear, and I'll be doing Black Phone. And the only other video I've got coming up is the hardware in the Michael J. Fox filmography of Anthony Perez, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, do you guys have any last final thoughts to say before we wrap up?
No, this was fun. I appreciate you having me on and talking to you 3 and just chatting it up.
Yeah, of course, dude. Definitely going to get you on for a Z Talks as well in the future.
Definitely,
that'll be a blast. And we've got Nathan saying, "I've got to bounce, guys. Glad I dropped in. See ya." Yeah, see you, Nathan.
See you, Nathan. Thanks for watching.
Appreciate
it. Of course.
It.
And Elliot, do you have any final words, my man?
No, I've had a lot of fun tonight. This has been good, hearing some great stories back and forth, and it's always a pleasure to do this with you guys. So thanks for having me on the channel.
Yeah, of course, man. And you'll be on Z Talks again in a couple of weeks' time, and I think there'll be a 4th appearance on the channel.
Racking them up.
Right, racking up those appearances.
you and Nate, I think, are like close to neck and neck.
Well, he's coming for me, but I'll fight him off.
Right. Definitely. But yeah, I just want to thank you guys again for being part of the stream. I want to thank everyone who's watching live and who has tuned in, and anyone watching after the fact. And until next time, we'll see you later. Bye, everyone.